Today I'm going to talk to you about a chapter in my book. This is the book and this is the chapter. If you can see it, it is chapter number 13 and it is about retirement strategy. First of all, why do you need to have a retirement strategy statement? Because this measures what you were thinking, what you were doing when you retired at the age of 60. So you would be making a retirement strategy statement at the age of 60, and you will also be revising it from time to time, seeing that circumstances have changed, dividend yields have come down, growth is not so much, but inflation is also not so much. So maybe I need to withdraw only part of my dividend. I'm not withdrawing the whole thing, and that is getting reinvested, right? Or somebody has launched a dividend ETF. Now that is technically speaking very good for you, because all the surplus you can keep it in the dividend ETF and decide that the dividend ETF will be it's like a growth share. You don't have to worry about getting the dividend, paying tax on it, etc. And you can sell the dividend ETF whenever you need money, right? So that's a great way of, it's like buying gold. At various prices, you do not know whether it's a good buy or a bad buy. Suddenly, after some time, when you see that, okay, you're getting 11% return when your target was 8 or 9, you can always withdraw some portion of it, some portion of the excess return or some portion of the capital and spend it for yourself, right? So, all those, something has to be captured. What rate of interest are you expecting? What is the yield that you're expecting on your equity dividends? Or on your equity portfolio, right? So let me just go through and read. I'll read the book for you, and largely it says, what is the use of running if you're not on the right road, right? So you have to go from Bombay to Chennai, and if you see Surat on the way, you know that you're headed to Delhi and not to, or at least to Baroda. But definitely not to Chennai, right? So that is where your retirement strategy statement helps you. So first of all, having a statement means application of mind. Summarizing also means that you are trying to write down all these conditions and do a review. Maybe the review is like budgetary control. It gives you a basis for change. Sometimes you may have to change the philosophy statement, and sometimes you may have to change what you are doing, and both have to be based on some good rationale. So here is Lavanya's summary, which I had produced in my first book, which means about 10 years ago. Lavanya had total assets of 30 lakhs, but she had 16 years to go for retirement and maybe about 30 more years living in retirement. So that meant she had 46 years in which to grow her portfolio. Now that's a long period of time. You may not be contributing, but you may be growing it. Calculating your expected return can be tricky, but she had calculated that she was expecting a portfolio return of 4%. Given the circumstances in 2008 or 9, when these numbers were put, 4% looked perfectly possible after tax on a portfolio which is a 60-40 kind of a thing, in 60% in equity and 40% in debt, right? So here are her expectations. In large cap she was expecting 6%, in mid cap she was expecting 6.5%, in the index she was expecting 5%, in bond she was expecting 3%, and in bond fund she was expecting 3.25%. Please understand, these are real rates after tax that she was expecting. So the inflation is about 5%. She was expecting 11% in large cap, right? So, and she did not want to invest in any balanced fund, because she thought she would do the balancing herself. She would not want a fund manager to do the balancing, in spite of the fact that she knew that there were advantages. When the fund manager does the balancing, you don't pay tax on it, whereas when you do your own balancing, you pay tax on it, and 10% of at equity and 20% in debt at least, and in equity it's without indexation, so that 10% can hit you real bad after some time. She also felt that she could lose about 15% in a year without batting an eyelid, but she didn't want to lose more than 3% annualized over a 5-year period. So it was, the loss had to be maximum of 15% over 5 years also, right? So loss limit is the number at which you will panic. Suppose your portfolio is worth 5 crores and you think you will panic at 4 crores. For you, that is the loss limit. You cannot go beyond that, below that, because you know that you will panic. That is your problem, not a general problem. So that number you have to arrive at and say at what stage you will worry, you will scream, you will put everything into bank fixed deposit. What is your number? That's a number which you should know. Asset allocation, Lavanya had said. She said both upper limits and lower limits. Large cap value share. She wanted at least 15% of her portfolio, but not more than 20% of her portfolio. However, if it went only beyond 25%, would she bother to rebalance? What all categories did she have? Large cap value, large cap growth, mid cap shares, mid and small cap had limits of 15 and 20, and index shares had 5 and 10 with upper limit of 15%. She was not very convinced that index would do well, but she also was not convinced that over a long period of time index may not start doing well. So she wanted some presence but not too much presence. And she said, here I reserve my right to shift from a large cap fund to index fund totally the day the alpha disappears. So she said that in 10 years ago, in 2010. So if I were to hold her to her promise, she should now get away from large cap funds to index funds. Then she had her objectives. Here are some of her objectives: to retire in 16 years, to be able to spend 3 lakhs per year post-tax during retirement, and to make her assets last for the rest of her lifetime. That's all, just 3. And looks good, and she seems to be on track. And she will. Here is Lavanya's approach to investing, which means that this is part of your investment philosophy. And Lavanya will balance taking on as much risk as she can to achieve a higher long-term return. Recognizing that she will never know which asset class will outperform, she will diversify across a wide range of investment options and those which have good moats around themselves. She will control costs by reducing expenses of fund managers, etc. And if she finds that there is too much energy around her portfolio in terms of buying, selling, etc., again she won't be very happy and she may reconsider the investing in the mutual fund. Her preferences and constraints are all her investments always have a 10-year plus philosophy. However, you never know how people will panic once they age, but a written down document at what number she will panic can be pretty useful. Tax issues, she will pay tax as and when it arises. And risk tolerance, given that Lavanya has a long time frame, she is happy to invest in equities, but she has her limitation as to how much she can lose. So how would she pick stocks? Performance consistency. Her core funds should have the consistently performed in the top third of the category, or right, don't get into too much of detail. Performance consistency. All her core funds should perform reasonably consistently, given the fact that they have so much of equity. But then she has also enumerated the monitoring procedures and she will make sell decisions from time to time depending on corporate governance, e.g., ESG, etc. Yeah. So create your own philosophy statement as soon as you can. Target a particular amount. If you don't know anything about how much you will spend at your retirement, always assume a big number. If you are worried about all those things, assume a simple thing. you will need 1 million US dollars at least for you to retire in India. So that is the other possibility, that you even get back from US or somewhere and stay in India. But whatever it is, this is the kind of money that you will need.